Champions are champions because they master the art of getting back up. Now, no matter what you do or how much you prepare, at some point in your life, you are going to get knocked down. But see, for the legends, champions, warriors, and for the overcomers, no obstacle, no trial, no tribulation, no situation is strong enough to keep them there. Put that loss and defeat behind you. Awaken the giant within you. How you respond right now will define you. Tap into that greatness on the inside of you. They doubt you, so the world will try you. But don't you let anything deny you. Show the world you still have fight in you. Let them all see that champion inside of you. Let them all see that champion inside of you. Each challenge you face is a great big mirror that allows you to see inside yourself. The way you respond to struggle will reveal to the world who you really are. Being a champion isn't just about the doing part. It's about the being part. You gotta become that person.
Happy Monday, beautiful people. Happy Monday. It is October the 2nd, 2023. Day 108 of year 5 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. Another 5-year consecutive day count. It is day 1488. Today, it feels like we're starting a new semester, don't it? We've been gone for a whole week. I mean, I popped my face in for a quick second on Thursday. I forgot when we starting, y'all. I got to double check this and make sure. I just looked at the last day. Let me just double check real quick. I think in the book of Fragga Patty, it's chapter 24. Did we read 24? No. Not this time around, we didn't. No. Okay. So in the book of Fragga Patty, we starting on page 202 and we're reading chapter 24, or if you're using the electronic version, it's chapter XXIV. And after that, we should have a few minutes to get over here in the Secret Nazarite scroll and read a little bit more of chapter 43. That's a really long chapter, if y'all remember. Yeah, chapter 43, and that's going to begin where we left off at on page 578 over here. Morning, son. So with that being said, Father, we thank you for another day to come together and get back on track, right? Yeah, we'll say that. All right, who all here today? Elizabeth, hey girl, hey, hi. Zachar, Yahoo, shalom, shalom. Tabitha, shalom, family, blessings to the house. Mom, shalom, shalom. And everybody else here hanging out in the background. It's only a few people right now. They probably like, she started early today? Since when? Earlier than some of the previous days. All right, beautiful people, let's just get right to it today. All right, chapter 24, page 202 at the top. Joab rejoiced not, and he alone of all people, and he alone of all the people assembled was burdened in soul. He said, Jehovah, thou hast rebuked me, and I am cast down. Thou hast shown me thy son Hapacha, one of thy gods in the lowest of heavens. And Hapacha thy son hath maintained his kingdom unto thee, till this dawn of light have come. Yet thou gavest unto my keeping a kingdom far higher than this, even Zeredho, and I went down as a child that falleth asleep. My kingdom forgot thee. My people ceased to sing songs unto thy name. We buried ourselves in darkness. And thou hast chosen me to be the next succeeding God of earth and her heavens. How shall I fulfill thy commandments? How shall I know the way to choose gods and lords under me who will be steadfast and zealous? And he thus communed with Jehovah. Fragga Patty said unto him, through faith are all things accomplished. Without faith, all things are uncertain. He who saith, I know Jehovah liveth and reigneth, hath said wisely. But he who saith, I go forth in thee, O Jehovah, for I know thou wilt accomplish. Let me read that over. But he who saith, I go forth in thee, O Jehovah, for I know thou wilt accomplish, hath said much more. For his words maintain the power of the Father within him. That's good. For his words maintain the power of the Father in him. When the morning of the third day had come, Hapacha called the host from recreation to labor, and the Essenes chanted a hymn of rejoicing. And after that, Hapacha said, To thee, O Jehovah, are all things committed, even as from thee they came forth. Thy voice is ever upon all men, but they hear thee not. Thine eye is observant of all things. Thine eye is observant of all men, but they believe it not. To teach men these simple things is to make gods of them, to open their understanding, to find thee, to know thee, and to realize thy ever presence, to become one with thee. This is the labor. This is the labor with thy gods and thy lords and thy holy angels. I'm going to read this whole verse over again. I kept breaking it up. Verse 6, page 203. Tikva, hey girl, hey. Creator is unstoppable. Kings and Queens Coaching Group, shalom, shalom. Cousin Tiffany D, what's going on, girl? Peace and love, family. Hey, girl, hey. Jason Righteous, shalom, fam, shalom. And a few other people hanging out in the background already. All right, verse 6, page 203 at the top. We're reading Book of Fragapati. To thee, O Jehovah, are all things committed, even as far from thee they came forth. Thy voice is ever upon all men, but they hear thee not. Thine eye is observant of all men, but they believe it not. To teach men these simple things is to make gods of them, to open their understanding, to find thee, to know thee, and to realize thy ever presence, to become one with thee. This is the labor with thy gods and thy lords and thy holy angels. Essentially, that's your main reason for coming back here to help us, right? To teach us to forever progress and to become one with our Creator, right? We will become as He is in the days to come, many days hence. Verse 7, in thy name have I raised up one who is to succeed me in this, thy kingdom. For thy light shall from thy light shall thy Orion chief weave a crown for him. With mine own hands will I crown him unto thee and thy kingdom. The marshals now brought forward Pinoto of Caracas, highly learned and disciplined, and he stood before the throne of God. Thereupon Fragapati rose up, saying, without a keynote, a number of instruments cannot be attuned to harmony. I didn't even realize here in the Book of Fragapati that they talked about a keynote. Like, I don't even remember this from the first time reading through it. I remember the section in I forget which book, but I love that particular chapter where it goes into the keynote and it talks about the music and being in tune with the Creator. I really did not realize they talked about it here. Hold on, y'all. I feel like it's just, I forgot to put my background music on. My nice flute sounds. Where did they go? You know what? My, clearly, let's just find some new ones. My flute music be disappearing in the background. Not that type of flute music. That's like classical. Not that flute music. Not really that. I really want like ocean sounds. Let's see. Yes. Which one? There we go. Okay, that is black seed oil. That's sour sop. What you looking for? The bitters? Those are two different ones. My last swig of those right there in a bottle that look just like that. You can take both of them, the sour sop and the bitters. Bitters. You're welcome. It's 2 tablespoons. Use my little right here. You see the 2 tablespoon thing. All right, beautiful people. Pan flute, Zakar Yahoo Shalom. Pan flute? That sound like a that sound like flute music to start at the root chakra. We don't really want that one. I mean, you want to start there, but that's not what I want to play here. Okay.
I'm enjoying it.
There we go.
I'm enjoying intermediate fasting. Not eating when you wake up, eating when the sun is at the highest, and stop eating at 6.
Okay. Verse 9, y'all. Page 203 at the top. Let me go to 8. The marshals now brought forward Pinoto of Caracas, highly learned and disciplined, and he stood before the throne of God. Thereupon Fragapati rose up, saying, without a keynote, a number of instruments cannot be attuned to harmony. Without a faith in an all-highest person, neither angels nor mortals can live in harmony. Individuals may be strong, but many in concerted action comprise the Father's kingdoms. Neither angels nor mortals can assimilate of themselves. Neither angels nor mortals can assimilate of themselves, but all can assimilate with the Father, everyone perfecting himself differently. Such persons are then assimilated to one another. Whoever serveth his own conception of an all highest, making him a servant thereto, is on the right road, and in the plan of the universe will drift. Seriously, it is not that bad. You messing up my video. Juice your orange so you can chase it with it. That's not worse than Yaki's bitters. Which one you just take? The bitters or the sour sop? Oh, stop it. You do too much. Y'all hear him in the background. Let me tell you something. They work like the Dickens, though. They so good. You ain't even do all that with Yaki stuff.
Oh, stew up with Yaki stuff.
Okay, put me another one in the refrigerator since you used the last of that one. But the sour sop, it actually tastes like a juice. It's a little bitter, but it's good. But still, juice you an orange and chase it with it. If water's not strong enough. You do too much.
Horrific.
Okay, let me. I'm off track, Jeremiah. Verse 11. Neither angels nor mortals can assimilate of themselves, but all can assimilate with the Father, everyone perfecting himself differently. Such persons are then assimilated to one another. Whoever serveth his own conception of an all highest, making himself a servant thereto, is on the right road, and in the plan of the universe will drift into an association adapted to himself. Many such, becoming a unit, are powerful over the elements surrounding them. Disbelief in an all highest person is caused by weakness of spirit resulting from disease or prenatal sin. Prenatal sin? Clearly, this prenatal sin has to be committed by the parents, right? Hold on. I don't remember that from the first one. I mean, it was here clearly. I read it, but it didn't catch my attention like it just did here. Hold on. All right. Which makes sense if the fetus, the embryo can be it can be adjusted in its path of life due to what the parents are doing, right? Verse 13, page 203 at the top. Many such, becoming a unit, are powerful over the elements surrounding them. I can't see, Jeremiah.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. This belief in an all highest person is caused by weakness of spirit resulting from disease or from prenatal sin or by laudation of one's own self.
Mama,
Like, I'm the greatest.
when was the last time you took
I'm the baddest. No, I'm the prettiest.
When was the last time you
I'm
took
the
this?
baddest. What?
When was the last time you took this?
It's been a minute.
I'm gonna say this. I tried
Why
it
would
yesterday.
you take that?
I didn't take it yet. I'm just saying, I took it like a day ago. And I
Yeah.
got punched.
Okay. You see me doing this?
I know. Just in case.
Okay.
There you go. Hey.
Many such, becoming a unit, are powerful over the elements surrounding them. This belief in an all highest person is caused by weakness of spirit resulting from disease or from prenatal sin or by laudation of one's own self. Such persons cannot harmonize because each one is his own self-esteemed all highest. Ooh. I need another color for that.
How many do you take of these?
Read it.
1 teaspoon. 2,000 milligrams.
Such persons cannot harmonize because each one is his own self-esteemed all highest. They are without power, without unison, and without sacrifice, accomplishing little good in heaven or on earth. Think not that darkness belongeth only to the earth and the lowest heavens. There are those who rise to the second resurrection, then fall into unbelief, and then fall to the first resurrection, and afterward become wandering spirits. And some of them even fall into hell. Jeez. And some of them even fall into hell, which is belief in evil and destruction being good. And yet others become druhas engrossed in the affairs of mortals and in lust, teaching reincarnation, and they finally become fetals and vampires on mortals. Let me read that whole verse again, y'all. It's definitely the parents, Jamil. I just saw your comment. I know that was for a verse up. But hey girl, hey. And everybody else here hanging out in the background. Okay, listen. Verse 14. No, let me go back. 13. No, 12. Whoever serveth his own conception of an all highest, making himself a servant thereto, is on the right road, and in the plan of the universe will drift into an association adapted to himself. Many such, becoming a unit, are powerful over the elements surrounding them. This belief in an all highest person is caused by weakness of spirit resulting from disease or from prenatal sin, or by lauding one's own self. Such persons cannot harmonize because each one is his own self-esteemed all highest. They are without power, without unison, and without sacrifice, accomplishing little good in heaven or on earth. Think not, love you too. Think not that darkness belongeth only to the earth and the lowest heavens. There are those who rise to the second resurrection and then fall into unbelief and then fall to the first resurrection and afterward become wandering spirits. And some of them even fall into hell, which is belief in evil and destruction being good. I like that. And some of them even fall into hell, which is belief in evil and destruction being good. And yet others become druhas, engrossed in the affairs of mortals and in lust, teaching reincarnation, and they finally become fetals and vampires on mortals. Who hath attained to the height of his own ideal is on the precipice on the precipice of hell. And he who, finding the God of his forefathers too small for himself, and so inventeth one much higher, is a great benefactor. A fool can ridicule the ancient person. His delight is to pull down, but a wise man furnisheth a great person. To pull down the all person is to pull down his people. To try to make a non appreciable person out of Jehovah is to make one's self the opposite of a creator. To try and make a non appreciable person out of Jehovah is to make one's self the opposite of a creator. To learn to create, to invent, to cast one's spirit forth with power to congregate and make is to go on the right road, right? Because our Creator is teaching us to be like He is, right? We get chances to create here, even here in this life. We get to create entities, right? Babies. We can create all kind of stuff. Listen. To try and make a non-appreciable person out of Jehovah is to make oneself the opposite of a creator. To learn to create, to invent, to cast one's spirit forth with power, to congregate and make is to go on the right road. To learn to pull down, to scatter, to annul, to disintegrate, to set things apart from one another, to find evil instead of good, to find folly instead of wisdom, to expose the ignorance of others instead of finding wisdom in them. Even all these follow after the first inception of belief in the all person. And since from this integration of the compact betwixt the Creator and his children, the cord of communication is cut with the exalted kingdoms in Ethera, they have indeed double grounds for disbelief, nor can they comprehend how others can be believers in an all person, much less have faith in him. And the same rule applieth to communities and to kingdoms as to individuals in regard to the fall consequent in unbelief in an all person. For a community becometh one person, a kingdom in Ethera becometh one person, a kingdom in the lower heavens becometh one person, a kingdom on earth becometh one person, each and every kingdom being a single figurehead, and as many of these kingdoms as are united become one person also, being a single figurehead of many parts, which is the perfection of each and every individual. Hence, as a single individual can cut himself off from the Father, so can a community or a kingdom so can a community or a kingdom, and so go down to destruction. The strongest, best man in the community is he who laboreth most to perfect the unit, that is, the person of the community. The strongest man in the kingdom is he who laboreth most to perfect the person of the kingdom. The strongest man in heaven is he who laboreth to perfect the most. Hold on. Let me read the whole verse again. Verse 21, page 204. The strongest, best man in the community is he who laboreth most to perfect the unit, that is, the person of the community. So like a family, right? We got all these individual members in the Murphy family, but together we are one family. Even though there's many members, it's one family, the Murphy tribe, right? So we're considered like one person, one unit. The strongest, best man in the community is he who laboreth most to perfect the unit, that is, the person of the community. The strongest man in the kingdom is he who laboreth the most to perfect the person of the kingdom, or the individuality of the family at large, right? The whole family, the one person, the one who works to perfect the family. That's the greatest, best man, right? Okay. One more time. The strongest, best man in the community is he who laboreth most to perfect the unit, that is, the person of the community. The strongest man in the kingdom is he who laboreth most to perfect the person of the kingdom. The strongest man in heaven is he who laboreth most to perfect the all person of heaven. The weakest of men is the opposite of these. he laboreth to show there is no all person in anything. Verily, he is already falling away from the Father. Yea, he accuseth himself. For he saith, I neither see nor hear in all person, nor believe I in one. It is a wise man who, finding he is going into disbelief too much, correcteth himself. Highlight that. Just in case y'all find yourself teetering off to the side too much. Verse 23. It is a wise man who, finding he is going into disbelief too much, correcteth himself. And he is not less wise. And he is not less wise, who, finding he believeth too much, and hence investigateth not all, correcteth himself. Right? So kind of like, and I ain't beating up on Christians, but Christians tend to have like this faith that's not backed by facts. Not that your faith has to be backed by facts, but you need to investigate why you believe what you believe, right? To really point out if there is a underlying source to the shenanigans or the supernatural that you see, or if it truly indeed is supernatural. Not everything you see, oh my gosh, that was God. Oh, it's Jesus. You know, you got to investigate. Do some investigating. You teeter. I saw your second comment. Come in, you teeter. We both teeter. A lot of us teeter. While we're researching and stuff, we teeter a little bit too much to the left. Then we get new information and we teeter a little bit too much to the right. Then we get some more information to make the picture look a little bit bigger, and we get closer to the middle road, right? We're not teetering so much to the left or to the right, right? We just keep getting information until we find ourselves on the safe middle ground, right? Or balance, shall I say. Hold on. Verse 23, page 204. It is a wise man who, finding he is going into disbelief too much, correcteth himself. And he is not less wise who, finding he believeth too much, teetering all the way to the right, and hence investigateth not at all, corrected himself. It was said of old, first, testimony, second, belief, third, faith, and fourth, works. But I declare unto you that with the expanse of knowledge, testimony must be strengthened. That's good. I don't remember any of this from the first time. First time, I was just trying to get through it and read it. I was almost overwhelmed by the number of pages I was going to have to read. Listen, it was said of old, first, testimony, second, belief, third, faith, and fourth, works. But I declare unto you that with the expanse of knowledge, testimony must be strengthened. For in the olden times, angels and men could be commanded to believe, and they believed. Herein have many of the lords and gods of the lower heavens erred, for they furnish not to those beneath them the necessary testimony comporting with the advanced knowledge in heaven or on earth. A God shall be swift in devising food for meditation, for angels as well as for mortals, without an advanced teacher. Hold on. A God shall be swift in devising food for meditation, for angels as well as mortals, without an advanced teacher, are as well off with none at all. I'm still like reading it too slow. Listen. A God shall be swift in devising food for meditation, for angels as well as for mortals, without an advanced teacher, are as well off with none at all. This don't make sense, but I know what it's saying. You better off having no teacher. Hold on. Wait, let me make sure I got that right. Without an advanced teacher, are as well off with none at all. Okay, so if you don't have an advanced teacher, one that's going to teach you right, you might as well not have a teacher at all, because if you have like this, I guess the word a lukewarm teacher, or one that's not really understanding the advanced level of knowledge and spirituality or whatever that's coming to the people, you might as well not have a teacher at all. They might actually screw you up worse than not having a teacher. Okay, so I'm gonna read it one more time. Verse 25. Herein have many of the lords and the gods of the lower heavens erred, for they furnish not to those beneath them the necessary testimony comporting with the advanced knowledge in heaven or on earth. A God shall be swift in devising food for meditation, for angels as well as mortals, without an advanced teacher, are as well off with none at all. It was said of old that a God taught the people on one of the stars to believe Jehovah lived in a straw, and they rose in wisdom and harmony and unity. Then afterward, another God came and taught them that there was no Jehovah, because forsooth he could not live in a straw, and the people fell into disbelief and inharmony and disunion. Which then of these was the better God? Yet I declare unto you, they were both necessary. For without a habitation and a figure, the Great Spirit cannot be taught to either angels or mortals in the first place. Going back to the idols, like, so which was the better teacher? The one who taught with the idols or the one who didn't? They were both necessary, right? Because at the beginning stages, remember, you need something to grasp onto to begin shaping the abstract, right? Listen. It was said of old that a God taught the people on one of the stars to believe Jehovah lived in a straw, and they rose in wisdom and harmony and unity. Then afterward, another God came and taught them there was no Jehovah, because forsooth he could not live in a straw, and the people fell into disbelief and inharmony and disunion. Which then of these was the better God? Yet I declare unto you, they were both necessary. For without a habitation and a figure, the Great Spirit cannot be taught to either angels or mortals in the first place. The labor of the gods is to lead the people upward, step by step, until they learn to be gods and goddesses themselves, right? You need something concrete to teach you about the abstract. And then as you grow, that concreteness turns into a different form of concrete that you understand at higher levels, and then you yourself become abstract, right? It's a beautiful thing if you understand the process. Okay. Yet I declare unto you, they were both necessary. For without a habitation and a figure, the Great Spirit cannot be taught to either angels or mortals in the first place. The labor of the gods is to lead the people upward, step by step, until they learn to be gods and goddesses themselves. On this earth, mortals were taught through stone and wooden idols, and afterward by engraved images. In some of the mixed tribes, it would be necessary to teach them incarnated Jehovah in mortal form, and by sympathy for his sufferings, teach them how to follow his spirit up to heaven. But all these subterfuges shall be set aside in the Cosmine era, which is what is happening now, like with the Christian church, not just the Christian church, all religions who have this figurehead that they worship. This is what it's talking about. Even though I know once we start shifting, we be like raw on the Christians and everybody else, y'all wrong. You ain't supposed to be worshiping no idols. But it was necessary. It was absolutely necessary. Because how did we get here? It was necessary. Most of us went through that same process. That's why my outlook on things as of late has been changing. I've been calming down a lot on my Christian jokes, realizing it is necessary for a period of time, right? Just like babies go through the same process. We ain't harping on them. Why you got on a pamper, my Jeep? Well, first of all, it's necessary. They ain't learned how to control their functions yet. They're not even able to care for themselves. It's necessary for a period of time, right? Some move slower in their growth than others, but it's okay unless you're outright rejecting growth. And then you become a midget in spirit, and that's not cool. Dawn, what's good, sis? I know you've been busy. School year back in and all that stuff. I know y'all been busy. Some of y'all just been hanging out. Just me. Blessings in you. I have been listening. I agree that we not only give our children their physical features, but we also transfer our spiritual, emotional, and mental to them at birth. Absolutely. That was coming from an earlier comment. Continually absorbing the light of the Creator. Oh, that was just me. Let me read it. Just me, do you think that's why it said we are born in sin? I'm trying to understand what the Bible means when it says that. I think this may explain it. Very good question. I've never thought about that way. Shalom used illustration as a teaching method. It absolutely did, right? It absolutely did. Good day, cousin Nikki. I think that's Nikki, Facebook user. Peace and love, family. I think that's a different person. All right, y'all. Let's go back. Yet I declare, verse 27, page 205 at the top. Yet I declare unto you, they were both necessary. For without a habitation and a figure, the Great Spirit cannot be taught to either angels or mortals in the first place. The labor of the gods is to lead the people upward, step by step, until they learn to be gods and goddesses themselves. On this earth, mortals are taught through stone and wooden idols, and afterward by engraved images. In some of the mixed tribes, it will be necessary to teach them incarnate. It says necessary in some tribes, right? Apparently, we probably the hard heads, right? In some of the mixed tribes, it will be necessary to teach them incarnated Jehovah in mortal form, and by sympathy for his sufferings, teach them how to follow his spirit up to heaven. And after teach them how, after how is reference number 24. 24 at the bottom of the top of the page says, teach them how to follow. How is in square brackets. But all these subterfuges shall be set aside in the Cosmon era, meaning that as we grow and develop and new generations come in because of the growth of the spirits currently on the earth and the children they reproduce, they will be born at a higher level of spiritual understanding. And they won't need to go back to square one, right? We're building stepping stones for each generation that comes in here, right? And the higher your quality is as an individual, if I could say that word, the higher the quality of the product that you're going to put out when you reproduce, right? This heaven, more than any other heaven of the earth, will be regarded by the Etherian kingdoms. Beneath you, even on this part of the earth, will mortals first espouse the Father's kingdom. Of all things, let your labor be first of all to sow the seed of belief in an all person, the Great Spirit. As ye now sow and build Jehovah's kingdom in your heaven, so in the coming of the Cosmon era will the same teaching take root in the souls of mortals. Nor shall ye under any circumstance permit gods or lords or saviors to be established as worshipful beings, either in these heavens or on this part of the earth. For this land is dedicated by Jehovah for the overthrow of all idols, of God and Lord and Savior, and of everything that is worshipped, save Jehovah, the Great Spirit. Right? And it's talking about Gautama, the Gautamas, North, South, and Central America. Right? Neither shall ye under any circumstance permit gods or lords or saviors to be established as worshipful beings, either in these heavens or on this part of the earth. For this land is dedicated by Jehovah for the overthrow of all idols, of God and Lord and Savior, and of everything that is worshipped, save Jehovah, the Great Spirit. Neither shall any of these idols be established with the effect in these heavens or on this land. But be ye most circumspect to establish Jehovah, the light of light, the all person in the souls of angels and mortals. Fragapati ceased, but signaled for Hapacha to ordain Pinoto, god of Ipsoge. Hapacha rose up, saying, Pinoto, son of Jehovah, thou hast been chosen to be god of Ipsoge for 600 years, and even after, if Jehovah so will. Thou hast passed the examination and standest above all others. Thou hast been favored with much traveling in heaven, and for thy benefit many swift messengers from the emancipated worlds have explained to thee the dominions of the great chiefs. He through whose fields this world is now traveling hath stood up before thee. He hath spoken to thee and thy people. Heed thou his words, and thou shalt be one with his kingdom in wisdom and power. By proxy have I visited the Ethereal worlds, thou hast not. By being one with this chief, thou wilt injure. I'm sorry, that's not injure. By proxy have I visited the Ethereal worlds, thou hast not. By being one with this chief, thou wilt inure to all light, and soon thou shalt visit his places by proxy also. After proxy is the reference letter I. I at the back of the book says, it's on page 236. It is most likely that proxy here has something of which mortals cannot conceive, perhaps dreams, perhaps suis, 1882 edition. Proxy might also be a reference to traveling subjectively as opposed to objectively. Angels can visit a location in person objectively or in thought subjectively. In spirit, traveling subjectively in thought is not just imagination, as it would be for us mortals. Angels visiting a place in thought embrace a virtual reality that is incomprehensible to mortals, but is in every way real to angels. They do not just imagine what might be there, they see it in fact. Refer to objective presence and subjective presence in the glossary. Let's go ahead and read it real quick. In the glossary, appendix. Okay. Objective presence is found on page 781, and it says, to be present in a place objectively, an individual must take his person with him, whether spirit or mortal, being there in actuality. See Book of Lika, chapter 6, verse 5. This contrasts with a subjective presence. See subjective presence in glossary. Hey, girl, hey.
Always thinking.
Always thinking. I know. The school ain't even open yet. I ain't gonna forget, girl. You coming with me? Okay, subjective presence is found on page 785. A state in which an individual imagines oneself in or directs one's conscience toward another location without being physically present there. In the case of a mortal, occasionally, when thinking of a person in a far-off place, that person becomes aware of the individual expressing that thought as well, experiencing what is called mental telepathy. Have y'all experienced that? I experienced that a lot. It's pretty dope. Hold on. In the case of a mortal, occasionally, when thinking of a person in a far-off place, that person becomes aware of the individual expressing that thought as well, experiencing what is called mental telepathy or a subjective presence. Unlike a mortal, however, a spirit can sometimes go to a place subjectively in thought, and yet, under the right conditions, actually perceive the reality of what is in that location as if seen with a camera lens. Subjective presence for a spirit can express a reality greater than imagination or even mental telepathy would be for a mortal. See Book of Lika, chapter 6, verses 5 through 9. But there are many times when imagining a subjective presence is only imagination. But there are times when imagining a subjective presence is only imagination regardless, and one can be misled into thinking one had been somewhere. Sorry, y'all. All my alarms going off. Subjective presence for a spirit can express a reality greater than imagination or even mental telepathy. would be for a mortal. See Book of Micah, chapter 6, verses 5 through 9. But there are many times when imagining a subjective presence is only imagination, regardless, and one can be misled into thinking one had been somewhere, perceiving its reality, when one, in fact, had not. A common failing amongst undeveloped, low-plane spirits. I've seen that happen. Okay, so Book of Micah. What was this chapter? Hold on, y'all. Objective. Verse 5. Okay, so objective is verse 5. Subjective is 5 through 9. So we're going to hop over to the Book of Micah, chapter 6, real quick. And just read this reference it gave us. And we almost done. It's like a couple more verses left in the actual chapter we're reading. Hold on. Let's just follow the breadcrumbs. Abba girl, shalom, shalom. Book of Micah. Page 388. Chapter 6. Okay. Page 399 is the Book of Micah where chapter 6 started, or chapter VI. And it said read verses 5 through 9. Y'all should remember this. To the Corporeans, I gave two kinds of presents, objective and subjective. By the latter, he can imagine himself in a far-off place, and the thought that proceedeth out of him goeth to a friend and speaketh understandingly in the distance. For thus I created him. But he who goeth objectively must take his person with him, for so created I him. And I magnify these two conditions unto the spirits of all men, that they might also appear objectively and subjectively in the places known to them. And this is the bondage I created unto all places on the earth and in the heavens thereof, making all men understand the power of objective association. Imagine if we developed that. We got to carry our bodies wherever we go, right? We got that part down. But imagine if you were to learn how to really get good at subjectively moving around the earth, right? And talking to people. That would be amazing. Your spiritual levels would shoot through the roof. Okay. And I magnify these two conditions unto the spirits of all men, that they might also appear objectively and subjectively in places known to them. I'm looking, according to Revelation, what will we call John travels to heaven, objectively or subjectively? They would be subjectively, right? Because he went with his spirit. He astral projected there. He left out the top of his body. He left out of his head. That's what I would say. That was subjectively. Objectively, you take the object of your body with you. That's how I remember it. Okay, let me finish reading this. Okay, I'm gonna just start over. To the Corporean, I gave two kinds of presents, objective and subjective. By the latter, he can imagine himself in a far-off place, and the thought that proceedeth out of him goeth to a friend and speaketh understandingly in the distance. For thus I created him. But he who goeth objectively must take his person with him, for so created I him. And I magnify these two conditions unto the spirits of all men, that they might also appear objectively and subjectively in the places known to them. And this is the bondage I created unto all the places on the earth and in the heavens thereof, making all men understand the power of objective association. And I created wide seas on the corporal earth, that man should perceive that one man alone could not cross over, nor in a small boat. All right, love you too. Hold on, just one quick second. Let me just walk to the door. Right back. All right, y'all. We literally almost done. We got like a minute left. A minute or two. Okay. Verse 8. I created wide seas on the corporal earth that man should perceive that one man alone could not cross over, nor in a small boat with any profit under the sun. Neither created I my heavens and the firmament that one angel could go alone on long journeys, becoming isolated and powerless. But I provided them that they could not escape association. Yea, I created the firmament that they must congregate together and go. Nevertheless, I gave freedom unto all, to him that goeth not objectively, to go subjectively, but of little avail and not much truth or profit. And because I gave this liberty, behold, even Druhas will say, Yea, I have been there, nor know they how to rise up from the earth or to go to any place save on another's shoulders. That's good. This whole firmament part I wanted to talk about, where it separates the world of the earth, right? All of us here under the firmament really have to learn association in its elementary levels and states and stuff, right? So there's a certain level you rise to, being in communities, families, states, countries, right? Imagine if we really got community under control and operated in it. It would raise the spiritual intelligence of this plane of the earth tremendously, right? We would literally raise up a heaven or two, maybe three, right? That's enough for today. Hold on, no, I didn't even finish this. I got like a couple more verses. Hold on. Hop back over here to chapter 24. We was at verse what's that footnote? I'm looking for I. Hold on. We're very sure. Where is I at? I see it. Okay. 35. Page 206. By proxy, I have visited the Ethereal worlds. Thou hast not. By being one with this chief, thou wilt inure all light, and soon thou shalt visit his places by proxy also. And at the end of 600 years, thou and thy harvest will be called for by Ethereal hosts. Be thou ready for them. And ere thou depart, thou shalt raise up one sufficient to take thy place, and thou shalt bestow him. Pinoto said, Thy will and Jehovah's be done. That which is given me to do, will I do with all my wisdom and strength, so help me, O Jehovah. Hapacha said, By virtue of thy wisdom, power, and love, O Jehovah, vested in me, do I this, thy son, ordained, God of Ipsoge, for the period of 600 years. Be thou with him, O Jehovah, and may he and his works glorify thee forever. Amen. Pinoto said, which I accept and covenant with thee, O Jehovah, for thy glory forever. Amen. The Essenars now saying, Thou light and person, approved and sung on high, Jehovah. Our God, Hapacha, Jehovah, thou hast called him. Welcome, Pinoto. Thou alone, Jehovah, remainest forever. Glory, glory be to thee, O thou creator. The light gathered brilliantly over Fragapati's head, and when the music ceased, the voice of Jehovah spake out of the light, saying, In the first days I blew my breath upon the lands of the earth, and man became a living soul. Then, in the second time, I moved my hand upon the earth, and man went forth in power. Thus near hath my voice approached the earth. Thus near hath my voice approached the earth. Be steadfast in my commandments. The time shall surely come, and in the third season, when my voice shall be heard by mortals. The voice ceased, and then Fragapati took the light in his hands as one would take fine flax, and he turned it about thrice, and lo, a crown was woven, most brilliantly, but of reddish hue. He said, Crown of thy crown, O Jehovah, have I woven for thy son, God of Ipsoge. And he handed it to Apacha, who said, "And in thy name, O Father, I crown him, second God of Ipsoge 600 years. Be thou with him, O Father." Amen. And that's the end of chapter 24. I don't know that we ever gonna get back over here to the Holy Megillah. Oh, we might tomorrow, because chapter 25 tomorrow in the book of Fragapati is only 14 verses. So we're just going to read that one. And we're going to get through a little bit more of chapter 43 tomorrow. We definitely not going to finish it because it's super long. But with that being said, beautiful people, thank y'all for hanging out today. Father, we thank you for more of your light becoming more light in our life. All right, y'all. So it is Monday, October the 2nd, 2023, day 108 of year 5 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. And of the 5-year consecutive day count, it is day 1488. And we read chapter 24 in the book of Fragapati, which started on page 202, if you got the big blue version of it. And it went all the way to page 206. All right, y'all. So with that being said, we about to get out of here. Just scan real quick. Let's see if I miss any questions. Oh, that was Misha. Hey, girl. Hey, Misha. Okay, just me said, yes, I do. These things have to be understood so the generations coming next can pass it on and do better. Not only will those who set themselves up as kings and rulers have to correct the errors of how they rule, but we who were and we who are parents will have to do so as well. So why not do it now? I agree. Why not do it now? There's no better time than now. No better time than the present. All right, y'all. Oh, we read that already. Okay. I think that's it. All right, beautiful people. That's it for today. I love y'all. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
But I see through you.
I'm from outer space. I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gold. I've been far away. I'm illuminated now.
What did you just do to me?
I pushed your astral form out of your physical form.
What's in that tea? Psilocybin? LSD?
It's just tea. With a little honey.
What just happened?
For a moment, you entered the astral dimension.
What?
A place where the soul exists apart from the body.
Why are you doing this to me?
To show you just how much you don't know. Open your eyes.
Been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they wore the coastline.
What's happening? This isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real, this is...
Been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they wore the coastline.
His heart rate is getting dangerously high.
He looks all right to me. You think that this material universe is all there is?
I don't need gravity, I need
What mysteries lie beyond the reach of your senses? Existence, mind and matter meet. Force shape reality.
I don't need gravity, I just need growth. I am not really here, I'm an intrusion. I don't swim or sink, I just float.
Some benevolent and life-giving, filled with malice and hunger. Dark places where powers older than time and waiting. this vast multiverse.
I don't need gravity, I just need I don't need gravity, I just need growth.
Have you seen that before in a gift shop?
I don't need gravity, I just need growth.
Teach me.
No.
It's an earthquake rumble. I won't ever ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho crumble.